We are back with the Premier League predictions. Once again, this week we're going to be going over the Game Week 23 matches. The standout games are Arsenal versus Manchester United and Newcastle versus Aston Villa. So very good matches. It's going to be so good, and hope you enjoy the video. And let's get started. Drop a like if you do enjoy. Now let's get started with West Ham versus Sunderland. This game's going to be super solid. So let's get started with West Ham. They have been doing not the best, honestly, this season, currently sitting in the relegation zone in the 18th place. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought Nuno Espirito Santo, his job was at risk coming into that last match against Tottenham, but that last match they won 2-1 against Tottenham. Very surprising. I feel like if he lost that game, in my opinion, he would have got sacked probably. But Callum Wilson came on as a sub and he came in clutch once again, scoring the winning goal for West Ham. Now on to Sunderland. They've been doing pretty good this season. One of the underdog teams in the Premier League, currently sitting in 9th place in the league. And Granit Xhaka has been such an important player in the team in terms of controlling the tempo, his work rate as well. Definitely one of the signings of the season. Now last game they played Crystal Palace and they won 2-1. Brobbey once again has been super clutch. He scored the winning goal as well. So I think this team definitely we need to keep an eye on. My prediction for this match is going to be a 2-1 win for Sunderland. Moving on to Fulham versus Brighton. This game's going to be very good, honestly. So let's get started with Fulham. They've been doing pretty decent this season. At the moment, they're in 11th place, which is pretty good, in my opinion, considering they were struggling earlier this season. Now last game they played Leeds United and they lost 1-0. They did not do very well in that match. They lost it actually very late in the 91st minute, and I'm sure they'll figure out a way to turn it around in this match or in the following matches. Now on to Brighton. They've been doing alright this season. As I always say, one of my favorite teams to watch in terms of just overall play. Honestly, they've been in some decent form recently as well. Last game they played Bournemouth and they drew 1-1, which happened today on this day. I'm recording this on a Monday, and they equalized very late into this match. In the 91st minute, Kustulas scored a beautiful bicycle kick to get a point. Unbelievable goal. But Brighton just could not score their chances before they actually scored the goal. They could have won that match, but I guess they'll take a point. But my prediction is going to be a 1-1 draw once again. Moving on to Burnley versus Tottenham. This game's going to be quite surprising in my opinion. So let's get started with Burnley. They have been doing not the best this season. They're currently sitting in the relegation zone in 19th place. Like last game they played Liverpool, they drew 1-1, but they were honestly really holding on in that match because Burnley only had one shot on target and they scored that one shot as well. Marcus Edwards being a decent signing from Sporting, scoring the only goal, but they need to start turning up if they want to stay in the Premier League, because 19th place, it's not looking too good. And we got probably 17 matches or so left, but yeah, they need to turn up soon. Onto Tottenham. They've been doing not the best this season. Under Thomas Frank, it's been quite bad. Last game they played a relegation side in West Ham and they lost 2-1. I'm sorry, but that is truly embarrassing from Tottenham. How are you losing to a team that's in relegation zone? But the only person to score in that match as well was Romero, a center back. Out of anyone, that's kind of crazy. But Thomas Frank, I feel like he's under pressure for this match. But Xavi Simons, he's not been the player we expected to be at Tottenham. He did good at Leipzig, but he hasn't been able to turn that into the Premier League. But my prediction is going to be a 1-1 draw between the two. Moving on to Man City versus Wolves. This game could be going only one way in my opinion. So let's get started with Man City. They've been doing quite well so far. At the same time, they've been doing quite poorly for their standards. Like at the moment, they're sitting in 2nd place, 7 points behind Arsenal. And last game they played was Manchester United in the Manchester Derby. And guess what? They lost 2-0. Honestly, Man City were quite poor in that match because United were the better side on that day. Semenyo, the new signing, he could not get anything going. Haaland as well. Haaland in 2026, he's struggling, honestly. But onto Wolves, they're doing quite horribly as well this season, sitting all the way in dead last in 20th place. Their form seems to be getting better and better though, because last game they played Newcastle, they actually got a point from that. They drew 0-0. They held their own against a solid Newcastle team, which is quite crazy to me. That Newcastle team has lots of quality, but maybe this is where Wolves turned the season around for themselves. But my prediction is going to be a 3-1 win for Man City. Moving on to Bournemouth versus Liverpool. This game should be quite interesting. So let's get started with Bournemouth. They have not been the best this season, currently sitting all the way in 15th place, which is something I bet we did not see coming at all. Like last game they played Brighton and they drew 1-1. They have lost a key player in Semenyo. He went to Man City, as I mentioned before, but now they will have to figure out a way to play without him. Now moving on to Liverpool. I mean, it's been a quite decent season for them, but it's wild. They started the season very rough, but they're still in 4th place. That's unbelievable. But their form as of recent has not been too bad, although they played Burnley and they drew 1-1, which is a little bit surprising. They should be beating them, but they did dominate that game, if we're being honest. They just could not score their chances. Now Wirtz, he's really starting to find his feet now in the league, because Wirtz was running that match. He also got a goal in that match, so slowly he's adapting into the style of the Premier League. But my prediction for this match is going to be a 2-0 win for Liverpool. Moving on to Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. This game could end up being quite good, so let's get started with Crystal Palace. They've been doing alright this season. Form wise, it's been honestly quite bad. The last game they played Sunderland, which is a tough team, and they lost 2-1. Yeremy Pino scoring the only goal in that match. So this team, I feel like it's slowly getting dismantled, because we have Wehi was gone to City, Glasner is leaving end of the season. You got Mateta linked to Juventus, he could be going there potentially. I could see Wharton leaving as well. Quite crazy, this team's getting dismantled, but it's football, and at the end of the day, if players are doing well, lots of top clubs are going to be going after them. Now on to Chelsea. They've been doing quite alright this season. Form wise, it's been a little bit rough recently, although last game they played Brentford and they won 2-0, scoring both shots they had on target. They only had 2 shots on target, and one of those was a penalty scored by Cole Palmer. Another one scored by Joao Pedro as well, but Brentford were the better team. If you look at the stats and overall play, they deserved the win. Senior got his first Premier League win in the bag, which is a positive for Chelsea and for him. But my prediction is going to be a 2-2 draw between the two. Moving on to Newcastle versus Aston Villa. This game is going to be super good. So let's get started with Newcastle. They've been doing quite decent this season. At the moment, they're sitting in the 8th place, but their form has been quite decent as well. Like last game, they played Wolves and they drew 0-0. I mean, that was quite the surprise, drawing against the worst team in the league. But with the team they have, you should be winning that match. But onto Aston Villa, they're doing very well in the league this season. Form-wise, it's been a little bit rough recently. Like last game, they played Everton and they lost 1-0. Honestly, Everton, I think, deserved that win. They played very well in that match. Morgan Rogers had so many shots and he just skied them, like literally into Rosie multiple times. But Unai Emery looked like he was fuming, and I mean, of course, you're going to be fuming after a loss like that. They could have closed the gap to 4 points between them and Arsenal, but yeah, they lost the match. So my prediction for this match is going to be a 2-1 win for Aston Villa. Moving on to Brentford versus Nottingham Forest. This game actually could be quite decent. So let's get started with Brentford. They have been doing quite well this season. Probably one of the most underrated teams this year. Sitting in 7th place, but they were in 5th place before the last game. So last game they played Chelsea. They lost 2-0, and I think undeservedly. Shada has been a very solid player for them. He literally had a chance to shoot in the last match against Chelsea, but instead he decided to pass it, and there were literally 2 Chelsea defenders had a open shot with his left foot, he could have scored it easily. They've been playing some really good football as well, and I rate this team this season. On to Nottingham Forest, they have been doing not the best this season. They're actually sitting just above relegation zone in 17th place. They did put up a decent performance last game, which is where they played Arsenal, and they drew 0-0. I mean, they were not too threatening, having 0 shots on target, but they secured a pretty decent point against the league leaders. Now, Gibbs White, he had multiple chances, but he just scuffed them every single time. But my prediction is going to be a 2-0 win for Brentford. Moving on to Arsenal versus Manchester United. This game's going to be the best one this week. So let's get started with Arsenal. They have been doing very well this season. At the moment, they are the league leaders by 7 points, as all of the top 4 dropped points this past week. And last game, Arsenal played Nottingham Forest and they drew 0-0. That might have been one of the worst attacking performances I've seen in a long time from Arsenal. But Martinelli, he literally missed a open net. Someone literally passed it across the net. That could have won us the match, but what can you do? Gyökeres had a 1v1 chance. The defender caught up to him after making a mistake. But we need to be better going forward coming into this match, because Man United are in some very good form. Now on to Man United. They have been doing quite alright this season. At the moment, they're sitting in 5th place, which is quite good. Playing some very nice football. I won't lie about that. Last game they played Man City and they won 2-0. They did really well. And the first game under Carrick, I think, in the Premier League, they were the better team and they closed Man City off to 0 shots on target. Bear in mind, Man City are the highest scoring team with the most goals in this league, so that's a big statement. Manchester United just locking them down on the offensive end. But Bruno Fernandes had a masterclass, creating wise, just the passing, the controlling of the game, tempo, incredible. The whole team was honestly on it. But my prediction is going to be a 3-2 win for Arsenal. Moving on to Everton versus Leeds United. This game should be quite a good one. So let's get started with Everton. They've been doing quite alright this season. At the moment, they're sitting in 10th place. Last game they played a in-form Aston Villa side. They managed to win that game 1-0 with a great performance. Tierno Berry, the difference maker with his chip over the keeper. That was kind of cold, for being honest. But Garner was really good in that match, hence why he got the player of the match. And Everton honestly held their own against a strong Aston Villa side. Now onto Leeds United. They have not been doing the best this season. Last game they played Fulham and they won 1-0. All thanks to a Nmecha 91st minute winner. That's insane stuff. Literally helped his team get 3 points, and they limited Fulham to just 1 shot on target. So both offensively and defensively, they were really solid in that match. But this team, attacking wise, I think I say this every single time, they're just quite good, I must say. But my prediction for this match is going to be a 1-1 draw between the two. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment down below your predictions for these matches, and don't forget to subscribe as well. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.